Welcome to the Eric Avisar Show, where I'm now going to talk about a marquee ACC matchup that took place tonight. A battle between two of the best teams in the conference. Duke traveling to the JPJ to take on UVA. And UVA played the kind of game they want to play, which is a defensive struggle, a low-scoring game against a Duke team that is filled with future NBA players, one of the most talented teams I've seen in college basketball, probably since the 2011 Kentucky Wildcats. And, UVA, they took it to Duke early when it came to playing that physical battle of attrition. Give UVA huge credit for holding Duke to 21 points in the first half, but ultimately it was not enough as Duke won 65-55. And the biggest difference maker in the game, easy call there, hands down, Jason Tatum. I've accused him of trying to play hero ball in the past, pretty relatively quiet first half with 7 points and 1 3-pointer made, but in the second half, boy, did he go off. Five 3-pointers made in the second half, 21 second half points, and a career high 28 points. He was firing on all cylinders, particularly in the final 2 minutes when it was winning time. He really iced it for Duke and made the end of the game relatively stress-free when UVA had no other choice but to turn it into a free throw contest. So Jason Tatum, I've mentioned it before, he is going to have the best NBA career out of all the guys on this Duke team. What makes Duke so good in one aspect is that, you have a different superlative for every guy in a different way. The ACC Player of the Year, the guy who's been most valuable to the team this year, hands down, Kennard. He finished with 16 points tonight and went 9 of 10 from the free throw line. And as it turned out, those were the only two Dukies who, scored double figures, but that's all they needed, and UVA, they only had two guys scoring double figures as well. London Parentes with 14 points, and freshman guard Ty Jerome with 13, who has improved, I think, a lot since the season started. Jerome is really a name to look out for, but, there's some clear problems with this UVA team. They don't have a reliable scorer who can get it done in difficult situations besides Parentes. They're going to lean on him a little bit too much, I think, in the month of March. Eventually, that workload will be too much to handle on the offensive end. And, they just don't get points in the paint, especially like Duke does. But Duke has an embarrassment of riches at virtually every position. So, to UVA's credit, Tony Bennett has maximized the talent on his team. He's done the absolute best he can. Of course, he lost Memphis transfer Austin Nichols very early in the season. And, he brought in four-star recruits. The guys who've really stood out at times, it seems, have been Kyle Guy and Jerome. Like I said, Guy had one of the highlights of the night where he just straight up crossed up Grayson Allen and nailed a three for his only basket of the night. I enjoyed that moment. I'm sure plenty of other people did out there too, even if they don't enjoy Kyle Guy's man bun. But I did enjoy the student section signs that gave Thomas Jefferson a man bun. That was pretty funny. But going back to the hoops here, UVA is not a national championship contender. Duke is. Let's make that perfectly clear. UVA just doesn't have the offensive firepower. They play defense as good as anyone in the country, but how they play in March, how far they go in March, it's dependent upon who they play. Duke, how far the Blue Devils go in March, that's dependent upon how they play, because there's no team as talented as Duke. Like I said, if they don't win the national championship this year, their season is a failure. And it seemed like they were headed down that path, but with the reemergence of Grayson Allen, it seems as he goes, so does Duke go. And while Allen only had 5 points tonight, they didn't really need that much out of him because Tatum was just that impressive. Played probably the best game of his college career thus far. We'll see if he can keep that up. So, final score, Duke 65, UVA 55. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel.